miniature painting was a video game, then thinning paints is that one boss every painter struggles to defeat. And unfortunately, it's a fundamental skill for things like non-metallic metal, blending, object source lighting, and basically all things miniature painting. After spending a ridiculous amount of money on different paints, I think I know what's causing the issues. Now thankfully, this isn't your typical paint thinning video, because you're not just going to learn how to thin paint, you're going to learn how to think about how to thin your paint. Wait, what? When you're thinning paint, there are 4 things to consider. First is brand, because not all paints are made the same. Some are thicker out of the pot, while others are thinner out of the bottle. And pigment density, which is responsible for assisting in coverage, can vary depending on brand. Second is color. Even within the same brand, certain colors behave differently. Yellows and whites are notorious for inconsistent coverage over dark bases, while navy blue or brown may cover in 1 to 2 passes. Third is coverage. I want you to think about what job you need the paint to do. Are you base coating, layering, or glazing? And lastly is base. Are you painting on a dark or light base? Example being a white primed miniature versus a black primed miniature. Based on our considerations, your thought process would look something like this. How is the initial behavior of the brand paint I'm using? Is the brightness of the color I'm painting with light, dark, or somewhat in the middle? What am I currently using the paint for? Basing, layering, or glazing? And finally, is the base I'm applying paint on dark, light, or again, in the middle? Okay, now that you know the 4 considerations before testing your paint, let's put it into practice. First, let's make sure our wet palette is set up. The goal of the wet palette is simple. It is intended to keep your paints hydrated during your painting session. A wet palette is made up of 3 parts. The container that keeps water in, the absorbent layer, which is usually made up of a sponge or foam, and finally a membrane layer, which is what your paint will sit on top of. And my question for you is, do you know the difference between the 2 membranes? On the left is parchment paper, and on the right is hydration paper. The reason I'm showcasing both is because the paint will behave differently on each membrane when thinning. Don't stress over which one to use because this is more of a personal preference. I personally like using parchment paper, but I did start with hydration paper. And you can also make a homemade wet palette with just a plastic or glass container, wet paper towel, and parchment paper. This is great if you're looking to save money and allocate it towards other parts of the hobby. Alright, on to thinning our paint. With this demonstration, you're going to see that I have 3 different paint brands with 3 different consistencies straight out of the bottle. My goal here is to teach you how to thin paints based on observation and behavior, not ratios or bad advice like thinning to skim milk. The other issue I need to bring up is that there isn't only one consistency. There are several. See, you thought there may only be one. There are technically at least 3 common consistencies, one for basing, one for layering, and one for glazing. You can fine-tune each depending on what you need the paint to do. So when we are basing, we usually want the most coverage. With layering, we want some transparency, and glazing, a lot of transparency. Now that we know the consistencies, let's start off with a basic formula for thinning. More water, or thinner, makes the paint more wet. There is another word we have to add to this formula: coverage. Paint plus water equals wet paint that just has less coverage. Now, coverage, for this explanation, is defined as how well our paint is covering the base layer we are painting on. This is also a good time to bring up the term opaque, which just means non-transparent, or non-translucent if you want to get more specific. When we thin our paint, it will become less opaque. And yes, there are several reasons why we as painters may want our paint to have less coverage. Let me demonstrate what the behavior will look like and what you should look for as a painter. First, let's get some paint on our palette, and you'll notice I split this paint into 3 spots. As I add more water to each area with paint, you'll see the paint become more transparent. When looking for a paint that is good for basing, I look for how smooth it flows and how well it covers. Notice I can't see the hydration paper underneath. And with some paint brands, you don't even have to thin the paint for this step. Monument Hobby Pro Acrylic is a perfect example. As I add more water, you'll notice I can still see the color, but we are starting to see some of the hydration paper underneath. This is a good starting point for layering. Finally, I'll add even more water and you'll really see the hydration paper underneath. The color will also act more like a filter. This is what I look for when glazing. Just remember you can fine-tune these based on the needs of your coverage as a painter. However, there is a problem with wet paint. We lose control. And if I were to load my brush up with this wet paint and apply it to the surface, you'll get this puddling, which we don't want. So, let me introduce the paper towel. a relic to help us control wet paint. After I load my brush, you'll see that I wick it off onto this paper towel. I'm not trying to remove everything. What I'm looking for is this circle of wet paint expanding on the paper towel. When it stops expanding and slows down, I'll then test this on my glove to validate that this is what I want. Now, the paper towel can be great when attempting to control the moisture in your brush, especially when glazing. And instead of using a dry paper towel, you can even use a damp paper towel. But I recommend building the habit of doing this on your glove or wet palette, because this will reduce the risk of drying out our bristles. I'm going to introduce another amazing tool we can use as well, this blank canvas panel. These are cheap, great for testing paint colors and learning consistencies as well. Since we have our pre-thinned paint, I want to apply this to an actual surface and demonstrate the coverage. A trick I like to do is draw a black line on this canvas to help identify how opaque any paint is when thinned. First, let's apply the paint that I feel would be good for basing. You'll notice it's not as transparent and usually requires 2 to 3 thin coats to get full coverage. The reason why we do thin coats, looking at you Duncan Rhodes, is because we want to preserve the details on our minis. The same reason I like this textured canvas panel. Next, let's apply a paint that would be great for layering. This can be slightly transparent, but you'll notice the color is still vibrant. The strength of layering is that it allows us to build up controlled layers to achieve a desired effect, like this Black Templar's tabard. Lastly, I'll apply paint that would be great for glazing. You'll notice this is very transparent, yet we still have some of the paint's original color. This is great for fine-tuning color transitions and gradients, like Timmy the Templar's power sword. Just to recap our 4 considerations, brand, color, consistency, and base color, it's always beneficial to test a paint and learn its behavior before applying it to the mini. This is especially true when working with paint brands you are unfamiliar with. So before you ask, what about metallics, contrast and speed paints, different types of thinners, and the differences between brushes, I will cover these in details in our upcoming videos. And yes, you heard that correctly, I said videos.